I am still pretty new to Swift UI, and you'll see that in this live coding session as we make some progress trying to test the background color and how it updates of a button, whether the button is enabled or disabled. But environment is new to me. I'm going to do some study there, and you'll see we end on an unhappy note, and that is a test that I want to pass because the behavior is correct, but the test is still failing. Maybe you can offer some suggestions in the comments for ways I can work out how to move forward. So thanks, and this will be the last live coding session this year. See you again in January. Welcome to the Quality Coding live stream. My name is John Reed. I am an iOS developer and a technical coach. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the folks who are already here, Mudshark, and hey, first-time chatter, Donner Lutian. I feel like I recognize your name from one of my socials, ? Welcome. And for those of you who are watching after the fact on YouTube, thanks for joining after the fact. I hope if you watch some of this and if any of it is interesting and helpful, give it a like. Oh, Donner, right, you were asking on the past episodes. Thank you. And first-time chatter, D. Marta, 90, hello. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. This will be the last of these sessions for this year. So schedule-wise, look for me again in the first Sunday of January 2025. Let's see. Oh, I haven't updated my coding background, but I have updated here to include blue sky. I am liking blue sky. It feels nice. Mastodon was okay. Definitely an improvement over X Twitter. But Mastodon, it's hard to explain until you get on. I mean, not Mastodon, Blue Sky. It's hard to explain, but it's got a different feel to it. I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm finding myself going there first and posting there most often. So join me and follow me on Blue Sky. Let's see. Let's get into the stuff. Unless there are other things. Yeah, I need to update along the bottom here still. That's all right. Last time. Oh, I need to create this time's stuff. Hang on a second. All right, last time, these are some of the things we observed about this hour and a half of coding together, each of these sessions. Somewhere along the way, we started doing 90 minutes by popular request, over 60. So this is one thing that we experienced is I had doubts about the code. I had serious doubts about the mastermind algorithm and was positive that it wasn't working. And in fact, a test proved that it was. So sometimes it's okay to add a test. It's not TDD, but the goal of test-driven development isn't TDD, right? That's the means. The goal is confidence and calmness and being able to be relaxed, not stress, and have fun with the code. All these outcomes come from test-driven development. They may not be ones you've heard of, but if you're a TDDer, you probably experienced it. This one we're going to get back to. View Inspector isn't comprehensive. Maybe we need to add snapshots, and I gave you a little, you might have seen a little teaser of that. We were having trouble with finding the background color of the check button. I've been watching, Marta, I've been watching this series on YouTube, and I read your book too. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing this kind of content. Wow. It means a lot to get those little notes. So thank you. This is something G-Paw Hill. Hey, Eric. G-Paw Hill says he's active on Mastodon. And he says, you know, with all the negative crap on the internet and on the socials, why don't we reverse that and each of us send a message to somebody who's been a positive influence on us or done something for which we are thankful, and tell them. So how about that? Turn the negativity around. So I appreciate the comment, D. Marta. That means a lot. I do want to keep on encapsulation. I want to remember that the goals of design, and really look at coupling and cohesion as the means. G-Paw. So if you're wondering what is, that's one of G-Paw's really good catchphrases is many more, much smaller steps. That's how we want to code. We want to code in many more, much smaller steps. Let's see. Hard to test. Simplify the appearance. Oh, this is something we did last time, is the check button. Couldn't figure out how to test the background color. So it's like Eric suggested, why don't we just go with the default appearance? And then it was easy to test. And this is one of the joys, is that we're doing actual test-driven development with Swift UI when a lot of folks still think that you shouldn't write unit tests or micro tests against views. And by golly, they are helpful. So that's where we are on the, where's my discovery tree? On the discovery tree, we are working on the check guess button. And this was my question to Alexi, the maintainer of View Inspector. And if you've been following along, this is our check button. Like, I just pasted it in. The old one with the rounded rectangle filled with blue. And I asked, how do we test this? And he came out with an answer, which I found surprising because my habit has been to go into the tests of View Inspector to see what's something similar. Is there anything in here that looks kind of like what we want around testing shapes? Didn't see it. I think that I also need to get in the habit of looking at possibly at the where's shape itself? These are the tests at the source code, because Alexi gave me an answer straight up. Here is shape. Shape. So shape has fill shape style. It's still not clear to me how to get there, but here's what he said. You inspect, get the path to the rounded rectangle, speak to the shape, and then get the fill shape style of an argument, in our case color. This is not obvious from here. So I think we have a way forward, but I also think it might be helpful if we spend just a little time to open up a pull request against View Inspector to add this, not because the test will help prevent regressions, but because the test will be better documentation. And we just couldn't see it. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about, is maybe we can make life better. We can try it here in the small and see how it goes. I actually opened up, I just switched over to View Inspector itself. Let's see. Yeah, I think it would be nice. Well, what was it? Fill shape style. So there's a test for fill shape style that is using a linear gradient. Interesting. But I think, why don't we see about another one? Something like with color. I don't quite know what it is, but basically we say even something like this. Rounded rectangle filled with blue. Wonder if we can do that. View equals if we say that's the view, and then the fill shape style we are trying to get is for color, correct? Yeah. And we can say cert equal fill color is blue, maybe. Let's see if this works. Ta-da! So if we submit this to View Inspector as improved documentation, what would be a good name? Shape style. It's not really shape style. It's like it's a fill color. I think this would be handy. Do we need that? There's nothing about the rounded rectangle that is interesting to this test. I assume there's a rectangle. Let's see. Yeah. Test color in the same way as test below. Oh, you're right. It's very similar to that. Can I use ellipse? Sure. Be more similar. Could also suggest a cookbook wiki. It's a neat idea. Yeah, so now we have fill style, which is a different one. But it is, now these are looking closer. This sits in the middle. I think that's pretty good. Let's do it. That's it. And thank you, Donner. And most excellent suggestion. Oh, I got lazy. See the test. Oh, never trust a test you haven't seen fail. I appreciate it. Red is not equal to blue, hopefully. Nice. Great. Teamwork makes the dream work. Get back to green. Oh. For those of you who don't know, that's a little sticker I made of Kent. Kent Beck. I don't know what if Alexei uses. It doesn't look like he uses any sort of style for his commits. I see one here are a couple of semantic commits. Chore, fix. So I saw refactor. I don't know if that's him. Here, who is this? But we can do that. I just want to try to fit into the same. Yeah, that's Alexei. Okay. I want to try to fit in, be a good citizen. So this will be test, add test demonstrating did I try Lumen? Is that in relation to this, or am I forgetting something else, Eric? Is that another tool? Add test. Here, let's. Oh, that's the thing to the AI tool, right? For commits. No, thank you for the reminder. All right, let's push that. And I like using GH, the command line tool, not to do anything else. because you can it's the command line interface to anything GitHub. Basically, you could probably open a PR and so forth. But I like GHBrowse as a quick way to get to where we are. This is something else I want to look at is View Inspector has updated from 10.0. Instead of working on a main branch, it looks like Alexei prefers to mark what he's working on. So 10.1, I believe, is out. I lean on when I want to know how to test something in View Inspector, the first place I look is in View Inspector's tests. Oh, and I can link this issue. This test adds no. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll get there. Let's come back to that. This test how to say it. It's like this test doesn't help Alexei development, but it does help There we go. All right, so add. And the like that. There we go. All right. So with that, I'd like to go back to our disabled appearance before we do that. That branching style helps a lot with package management systems. Some orgs really like to lock versions down. Oh, that was the other thing, was what came out in 10.1. Adds support for call refreshable? Don't know what that is. Fix async inspect deadlock bug. Okay, so a bug is fixed. That's nice. The community has figured out the story behind the appearance of implicit any views. Remember that bit us. When I switched to Xcode 16, and all of a sudden the test failed, as well as a workaround. So if you are in a similar situation where you had a View Inspector based tests of SwiftUI, and then they fail because Apple decided to add a hidden view to contain things. It looks like this is the trick to sort of force it back to the old behavior if you need that. I think it's probably better to avoid the need for that and just use tags. So what is this? Call refreshable. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So this looks like a SwiftUI thing I don't know. Nice to see somebody supporting this. That similar to call on a peer. Okay. Good to know. All right. Where are we? Yeah, so I think it would be fun to get that disabled appearance back. Set like that. Oh, something else that I realized when I was working on not this, but my Objective-C to Swift UI. Well, first it's Objective-C to Swift conversion of an app that I didn't remember to do in our copious setup. Before we started TDD, we did a lot of setup for things, and one of the things I forgot to do was add my Xcode warnings. And one of the benefits you'll get from doing that is the warnings by default turn on. They max out the strict concurrency warnings, which we haven't tackled yet. And I don't want to do it today because we're in a fun section. Maybe next year as part of sort of not spring cleaning, New Year's cleaned up. We'll go back to that. So let's do this. We can do this test driven. Can't we? Now we know how. Just like that. Let's see what we have for check button. Here's initially disabled, enabled. So we want a gray background when it's disabled. Here's the check button on the app where copying. Gray with white text. The text and the check stays the same. The color changes to blue. So let's do that. Here, this test was just whether or not it's responsive at all, like actually responsive. And so let's do the behavior. Check button is initially disabled. Oh, okay, so responsive. One thing that I learned is that we no longer need main actor on each test. In Xcode 15, we did. We can do this. Xcode 15 prevented us from doing this. It would yell and say, hey, XC test case can't play with main actor. But now it can. So let's do just a little bit of cleanup. And make sure we're still clear. Good. I didn't really need to run the tests there, because this is, oops, mastermind. There we go. This is an example I would call, I classified this as automated, but I think it's also with Arlo's risk categories here, asterisk for high risk, dash for medium risk, and dot for low risk, the increasing size of the splat, the blast radius. This is a very low risk. It is test only. So I suppose I could mark that, but I've done other things like this outside of test code where I say it's a refactoring. If it builds without yelling at me, then it's fine. At test suite. I think on my own time, I'll probably go through and clean up other tests. We could maybe start thinking about Swift testing for the non-view tests. Okay, back to here. We are here. Initial is disabled. Is gray. How's that? Check button disabled is gray. So instead of is responsive, let's slap down my little example here. We're going to have to see if getting this to pass causes the other tests to break. Hopefully not. This is the, if we say, so right now we just have a straight up button with text. Before we had a button with a rounded rectangle with text. So is it button shape? Yeah, I think you're probably right. There, I was going to go straight for shape. In case of actors, it's better to run tests anyway. Why is that? I think you're right, because I just read about something that there's some isolation checks that are dynamic. Most of the ones, not most, every single isolation warning I've dealt with so far has been a static warning, a compilation warning. But just in case, because there are some edge cases possible, like the run of concurrent work is scheduled from a global context rather than the actor where it's called from, work is still done on a provided actor, but it can, make concurrent tests a nightmare. Yikes. That's a section we have not looked at. You're way ahead of me there. So button shape, fill shape, color. And this would be the fill color, and it is not happy. All right, let's try this and see how it fails. If it fails to find, well, first it'll fail to find the fill shape style, but I guess one thing I want to know is, will it fail because it fails to find the shape? Let's extract that much and separate it. Huh? Oh, come on. I'm going to separate them so that I can see where it fails. And it fails there. Okay. In fact, I wonder if we can use default appearance to get enable disable. If we look at this, I mean, that's the old thing. I guess we didn't successfully have a test, so I don't have a test to look at. Okay, right, there is no shape. So the question is, excuse me, have a drink, John. We do something. Yeah, let me just copy it from here. I'm not sure how much I want. If all goes well, it should now find the shape. Hopefully the other tests still pass, and we'll get blue is not equal to gray. However, we don't know if the other tests will be happy. How many failures? Just the one. Good. Oh, wait, no, still the wrong one. Darn. We're looking at check button. That is here. It is a button. Feels like we need to get the button label. So it's like, if I imagine it, we need to talk to the button and get its label, or something like that. I'm making stuff up that doesn't exist. I guess we don't really have many more tests of the button because the button is new. Let's go back to here and see if there's anything. ABC, ABC, that's finding text. That's not what I want. That's text, text, text. Don't care about text. We want something more complicated. Any view with text. Find the It's interesting. It's still finding the text in there. I thought we already had something about this, but don't recall. Okay, let's try to figure it out. Do we need to locate the rounded rectangle inside the button? That would be an easy out. Yes, it is. Thank you. I was hoping we could get at the button label itself. Not obvious. Let's also look at button source. Label view. Button label view. Let's try that. Hey, great. Okay. That's good. That's all we need. So, lesson learned. I'm going to note this in the Miro. Yep. Is check view inspector source if you don't see it in test examples. We have a failing test. That's good. Easiest way to get it to fail? To get it to pass, I mean. And let's see what it looks like. Make sure it's not horrible. Maybe we want a different gray, for example. Wow, it's slow, even though this is a very small project. Hello. How are you guys doing? How are you folks doing? Not, um, yeah, I like this test. I want to see it. I'm getting impatient. The easiest way to see it is just to run it. Ooh, gross. That's that button style. There you go. You were right there with me. This is not. Oh, there we go. How's that color? Um, is there system gray? Huh? Grayish. So Swift UI colors have different names than I'm used to. All right. Do I care much about what gray it is? I mean, of course, we can define our own custom gray, but you know what? I'm going to say that's good enough. Getting rid of the style is good as long as our tests still pass. I forgot about that thing, the color set. That's the you unselected. Let's try that. Thank you, forgot that existed. Oops. Is that what we want? It might be to match the empty pegs. Yes, it is. That is what we want. Thank you. Okay. So I should be able now to get this to. I'm going to work backwards this time. It looks good. Now it's more of a characterization test. Disabled. I'm coming up with a better name. Disabled color is unselected. Ghost error there. I heard the boink of pass. So let's clear test results. I hate that I have to do that. Thank you for reminding me about the color set. The color assets. Totally forgot. Cool. So that is a fairly significant change. I'm going to call this a biggish feature. Check button set check button background color. Now, hopefully, to use UI color sets with color, use color UI color. Oh, so you have to convert it. Thanks, Garbob. Andy Bezaire, first time chatter. Hi, first time I made it to the live. Welcome. Hey, there are a fair number of folks here. Say hello. Glad you could join, Andy. We are working back around now to the question we originally asked last time, even starting 2 times ago, is how do we get this background color to update correctly when it's no longer disabled. So I want enabled is blue or something like that. To do that, we're going to create our do our inspect the changing view and note to self, oh, bit of cleanup. I don't think we need a separated shape and fill color. Yeah, this doesn't really help us anymore. So if I change the round rect into a button style, will that break your test? Possibly. In which case what I would do is keep my eye on the appearance, make the change, see if I can get the appearance to work, and then treat the tests as characterization tests. So not a pure refactoring, but say, you know what, it looks good, that's the behavior we want, update the test to match. This is a long line. Button like that. Oh, this is now fill color. Kind of. The important thing about tests, test-driven brings so many advantages. But the important thing to remember about it is to have your test code be different from your production code. If they're mirrored, and your test code is simply testing the implementation of your production code, it doesn't really tell you anything. It just says the code is what the code is, which, yeah, it's not great. What we want is a test that checks some outcome of the production code, ideally the behavior of it, and then that creates it's. If you've ever done any accounting, I used to do personal accounting by hand. The way double entry accounting works is you add things one way and add things a different, like you add rows and you add columns and you get a checksum. It's like that. It provides safety. And so at that point, which comes first, the test or the production code, matters less. And in fact, that's part of the heart of TCR as opposed to TDD, test and commit or revert. I know Eric wants to see more of test and commit or revert. Characterization tests So I would call snapshot tests a type of characterization test. Snapshot, I guess, in general, not just images. Yeah, what Mudshark suggests to soften the test is that maybe saying this needs to come into the label and the shape could be softened by saying, you know what, I just want to find this somewhere and adding a tag. So a characterization test is simply a way to approach code that is already written and saying, whatever the assertion gives me, I'm just going to plug into the test because that is the value that I'm getting back from production code. It is usually a legacy code technique. So here we did just a bit of test refactoring. And now let's come back and do this again. Enabled is blue with a changing view in which we do 2 button taps. I guess we're going to have to get those code choices in place. And thing that we learned last time is I can't just move this in because this is inspecting the system under test. But the system under test is not what we want to check because we're checking a changing view. Instead, we want to look at the view. I'm a dork. And here, blue. This, oh, I need to capture the fill color outside. So like that. This test will fail and by saying gray is not equal to blue. Part of TDD is calling your shot. Oh, not gray, unselected. And that's a reminder to me that my prediction was close, but not spot on. I said gray. I forgot that it meant our unselected color. Unselected is not equal to blue. That's quite a long name for a color. Now, this is our failing test. Here's the question, and now we'll come back to how do we get this to update based on let's find where check button is used, based on whether it's disabled. So environment is the thing we don't have yet. And environment, if I understand correctly, would mean we wouldn't have to pass it down through all the children. But it's not many children, is it? Do we need, I guess what I'm asking is, do we really need an environment flag? And maybe we do. And let's just start with it. And here I'm going to need your help because I have never written one. Environment is there anyway, lurking in the background. Let's go back to Garbob. So this is creating a button style. I'm humming because it's a lot of stuff. Of course, I can't read it because it's not formatted nicely. What if I were to format it nicely? I don't know. Let's see what Garbob has to give us. Okay. There is the suggestion. Here is how we create an environment within button styling named is enabled. Here's a variable for it. I don't see the connection between these two, except maybe this is the name of this. Oh, wait. Surprise! This is an environment variable that already exists? What other surprise? It is time for me to learn about environment. It's a lot. Yeah, is it magic? Is this magic? This is the variable. Button style is this thing. Disabled will override it in SwiftUI tree for a subtree from the point where it is applied. So are these tied together? Simply by virtue of using the same name? And that being the case, where would I define this environment? Is it at, would I put it at the game screen level to say like check button? I guess, no, it's got to be the same name. All I want to enable and disable is the check button. How do I get it down there? New stuff, John. It's true everywhere until you add disabled true. Swift UI. How about Swift UI environment? Applying the style to the button. Again, do I have to? I should stop resisting. El migranto. Environment applies to your var and puts the value of key is disabled into your var named. Oh, you're saying. You're saying. Let me understand if I'm understanding this correctly. Is this a modifier on this? Oh, interesting. It's about letting child views know whether the parent is disabled. Okay. Huh. Now, there's all this button styling stuff. Um, I'm reluctant to dive into this if I don't need it, except as a nice refactoring. You're just seeing the edges of like this is the edge of John's experience with Swift UI. Live and raw. So with this, if we go down here, can I do something like this? And will it scream first? Doesn't appear to be screaming. Uh, hmm. Now this is all new to me. The interaction between different views within a hierarchy. The buttons gray themselves out. Yeah. Okay, so with that, can I basically do something here like that? Can't. Gotta have an if. Oh, spaces. At this point, I expect everything to still be in the same state with this one test failing because we're not fiddling with this. So now can I come back up to where the check button is disabled and I mean, this is gross, but how do I How do I check that? Good question, Mud Shark. Back on here. Can I get rid of this? And it looks colored. Well, let's try. Oh, seemed to take it. Nice. Okay. Am I going the right direction? If I set an environment variable is enabled, updates this. Now can I trigger this outside from up here? And if so, how? I don't know how. Is enabled not automatically set by disabling the button? Well, it doesn't seem to be. Oh, it did. Did you see that? It did work. So the test is incorrect. The behavior is good. Magic. Surprise. How then do I satisfy this? Oh, wait, this is not the test I expected to fail. This test is passing. Did I reverse them? Oh no, John. I am but a baby here. So if I discard that line, the test name enabled is blue, fails. I mean, yeah. But the unselected state, it's like it's still enabled. Why? Why is this in some sort of because this one comes in, it's not updating. We are just taking the view and finding the check button and getting the shape fill color. And it's already setting it to blue for some reason. Why? So disabled wasn't set. So if we come back out here, Hmm. Any clues? Because the behavior is good. The actual behavior. This is not going nicely. No, 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 no. Check button. I mean, there's no enabled, right? There is enabled. Oh, it's private. I don't even know what it is. Oh, it's that. That's the magic. That's supposed to happen from sitting disabled, which works, but it's not happening the first time round in this. The other difference we have is making it an inspectable view. Let's try this for a second. I don't think this will impact anything. Back, 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 back. Is complete is not false. I guess we can try to check in the debugger. What is the value during this specific test? Maybe something not a state. All right, let's turn the debugger on. For tests, run this one. See it fail. And go back and, oop, we got some things here, but I don't know what they're from. Let's clear. Try it again. I don't really mind those warnings so much. Oh, let's set a breakpoint in here. Does the code contain anything that is not, that is, wait, not. Purple is new to me. So there we have it. Code definitely contains nil. So not contains is definitely coming through. Yeah, I'm not worried about too worried about the purple warnings if it is just within the context of tests. So can we now come, it's getting hard to see, in here? Is it possible to, it's not possible to set a breakpoint in here, is it? It's not actually, I mean, we know what we're getting. We're getting blue. Why is enabled being triggered? Oh, we do get breakpoint there. Wow. Wow. So it thinks is enabled is true. Why? Why? Bummer. I don't know. I mean, so far all I'm seeing is verification that the test is not working the way I want. Maybe? Is it updating so that's kind of what I was wondering is like if it's on a redraw, the test is running on main actor. I think. Positive it has to. Wondering about the button style struct. Oh, this thing? The thing that was there for reference. Yeah. Let's try that. Hmm. I don't get it. This is awkward. And we are out of time. And I don't know what to do. Crap. What a way to end the year. Shoot. And yet it works. Yeah, bummer. And yet it works. Blue briefly. Arg. All right. With that, let's call it a year. Hey, I'm going to do the gross thing. Check in. First, I need to learn more about environment. Clearly, I need to do some studying. And maybe that will help. So this I would call broken. Unusual. I thought there was a broken thing here. Let's come up with a different. Can't be that. I don't know. Okay, so some ideas. Let's note these down. We have need to study this. Does test need a delay or something? We don't know. We did submit a poll. View inspector PR. It's not. I think we can have a problem using at environment for is enable if we have more than one button using the disable property. So maybe it's not the right one. These are some things to check out. All right. Well, folks, I had hoped this would go better than it did, but it is what it is. That is life. So thanks very much for joining me. Thank you for your participation. Hey, Donna, it was good to have you. I appreciate you jumping in, DeMarta, and other folks who have, all you regulars and others who have just said something lightly in passing. And still a fair number of folks here at the end. I'm surprised. Anyway, so this will be the last session this year. Yes, whatever you celebrate, I celebrate Christmas. Gonna have an early Christmas because of family schedule. One family member couldn't get Christmas off from work, so we are shifting it. But yeah, Merry Christmas. Have a blessed celebration, whatever you celebrate. And thank you so much for being part of this experience and making it interactive rather than just me going blurb, especially when I hit something new that I need to study. And that's good. For some people, I also want to recognize that the holidays can be a hard time for some people who have had either pain from family or grief from loss. And so I want to acknowledge that there are churches out there that celebrate a thing called Blue Christmas. And that is it's like not the joyful Christmas, but the Christmas is hard, and recognizing and honoring that. And so there are some churches out there that do that. Whatever you do, be cool, be good, be kind. Stay hopeful. The world is in flux right now. Oh my gosh. So weird watching the news about Syria. And of course, then there's the United States, and we'll see how things shake out there. Take care, everyone. I will see you next year for more test-driven development in SwiftUI. Take care.